Patriot fam. Happy
Welcome
Monday.
to Open Mic. Happy Monday. I mean, it's Monday, whether you're happy about it or not, right?
I'm saying. Here, let me get this computer all squared away. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, here we go.
It's because you're normally right here.
I know. I miss it.
I'm happy to see you, though, Allie. How was your weekend? And how was your weekend, our followers that are listening to us? How was your weekend, Allie?
Yes, guys, please make sure you like, comment. Please let us know how your weekend was. What was your biggest takeaway? The best thing that happened to you this weekend? For me, it was watching my oldest son win their football game on Friday night. That was great. It was fantastic. I mean, there were a couple things I was a little frustrated by, like unsportsmanlike conduct when a well-earned touchdown and the kid spikes the ball and they get 5-yard penalty, which is absolutely insane. This is a full contact sport, guys. Like, why are we worried about feelings? There are winners and losers. Get a grip. Yeah, that was kind of.
And how can that be unsportsmanlike? It should be a celebration, right?
It is a celebration. I mean, they see it in NFL all the time with the celebrations that they do, even on like the courts of like when they do basketball and things like that. So I don't understand why in high school it has to be any different. Even the college kids, these kids are trying to get into college to play ball. So for me, I'm like, let them celebrate as long as they're not overtly being crazy, right? Standing over, the tackle, that the guy the lineman you tackle and going like this, like, okay, that's unsportsmanlike conduct. But spiking the ball after a well-earned, 4 downs and then you get a touchdown, I don't understand why that's unsportsmanlike conduct. Get it together, Hillsborough County.
Get out of your feelings. It's football, literally.
Right. Literally.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed your weekend. We've had a lot of storms down here in the southeast. So I'm reminded that we're on the heels of hurricane season. So I think but it's also a sign that the seasons are changing here pretty soon. So that's exciting. But yeah, glad to be back with you guys this Monday. There was a ton that took place over the weekend, especially Friday after we left. As we were wrapping, I think there was some news breaking. So
I could not keep up, you guys. So hopefully we're touching on some new news, but every day is a news day.
Every day is a news day with Trump.
So
retribution makes headlines. Absolutely. So let's just go ahead and we'll get right into our intro, guys. Keep that mic open and let's go. Let's go.
Taking back our freedom, back to where we started. We're wearing our red hat tonight. It takes more than just a feeling. Oh, better be believing, and America's gonna be home.
What do you do when they try to cancel you? MAGA Nation, we cancel proof. My red hat stays on. My red hat stays on. You know I love Gavin and Trump. I trust November 5th. You gon' ride with us? Our red hat stays on. Our red hat stays on. It's the mayor MAGA, but the RNC King. 2024 freedom gon' ring. Mr. Red, White, and Blue. I'm still fighting for each one of you. And keep your red hat on.
It's funny when I see that intro and I'm interviewing Vivek Ramaswamy and Kevin Sorbo there. That's at Mar-a-Lago, and it was a windy, stormy day. And they had most of the reception there at Mar-a-Lago, like out on the lawn and kind of by the pool. And it was a windy day then too.
Goodness gracious. That's just the weather of Florida, I guess.
It is. So can we start with our first story, guys? Of course, it broke on Friday, and we're like, what is going on? We're holding on to the edge of our seats. So many of you know, if you've been, kind of a conservative or Republican for any length of time, 10, 8 years, the name John Bolton is not something new to you. It's actually during his time that he was with the Bush administration. I think many people thought very, very favorably about him. He went on to, I didn't realize this, Allie, he was a very, very, very strong advocate for the Iraq War. He actually was the director of the Project for New American Centuries, where that's what they did. They advocated for the Iraq War. Of course, you think about the failed intelligence that led us into the Middle East, saying that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, which we now know was not the case. Think about what you know now about the intelligence community and how they get things wrong or how they spin things, especially under the Obama administration. Makes you wonder what we were ever doing there. But fast forward, Trump brought him in as his national security advisor for really less than a year, in 18 and 19. And I sometimes I wonder, if Trump doesn't know these things ahead of time, as he escorted John Bolton out of his administration, he probably knew he was somebody that was definitely working from the inside against Trump. He was not a huge advocate for Trump. So this happened, guys, on Friday. Take a quick listen.
This might have nothing to do with classified documents or about classified intelligence that Bolton printed in his book. Trump Justice Insider Mike Davis says Democrats, rhinos, and reporters who think this raid on John Bolton is about his book will be very embarrassed when the search warrant becomes public. Primetime's hearing Bolton was making a lot of money from overseas and may have been trafficking in intelligence. That wouldn't be putting America first. Constitutional scholar Jonathan Turley, who we just heard from, says Bolton could be looking at up to 20 years in prison. So Bolton should take his own advice and take a big, beautiful, deep breath.
I think it's important that everybody take a deep breath here. This is a very serious matter, and it would be better.
Very interesting. So John Bolton, of course, he went on to write a book, and there were some back and forth, Allie, on whether or not he got the clearance to include some things in his book. I mean, when you're national security advisor, you look at General Flynn. Okay, he's written a number of books. Each one, he's had to go through the process of making sure that he can say what he's saying, that everything's, the clearance level is fine, that he's not putting anything out there that shouldn't be. John Bolton,
it takes years to do that. It's not something that's a fast process. This is a very slow, painstaking process, and it goes through multiple layers and multiple editors and multiple clearance levels in order to make sure that you're not giving away secrets that are, essentially our national security. So I don't understand why Bolton thinks that he could just get away with it. Are we not supposed to? Isn't there that saying, "No one is above the law"? Isn't that something we've heard from the left?
I thought no one is above the law, but then Jesse Waters touches on there that he was potentially making money off of trading our intelligence, and this reminds me of things that we've long thought about Hunter Biden. When he gives 10% to the big guy. Maybe part of the reason why Republicans were really, really soft on trying to go after those stories and hold Democrats accountable is because some Republicans were caught doing the exact same thing. Then we'll see how this plays out. Jesse Waters reporting there that it could be punishable by up to 20 years in prison.
Let's see what Congress actually, what the investigation leads to, because that's the congressional arm. That's what they are essentially supposed to do. But what is the DOJ going to do about all of this? Will the DOJ actually hold him accountable for this, and will he serve time?
Right. I mean, this goes right into the hands of the justice system. It's kind of like when you get caught, if you're caught doing this kind of thing, there's nothing your buddies on Capitol Hill can do, really, because
you see what happened to Snowden.
Yeah. And how is this any different?
And Assange, right? So how is this any different? Just because he holds a government position? I mean, Snowden held a government position and he had clearance, but what he did was he divulged information that was corrupting and hurting our, our American citizens and our soldiers. And they completely demonized him for it. Why is this any different?
And I feel like this might be a softer play if they can get, if it comes out that John Bolton is guilty of these things and they're holding him accountable, this really sets the tone for how they're going to treat Adam Schiff, who was guilty very much of doing the same thing, allegedly. So if they can treat a Republican this way, I think it kind of almost sets the tone for literally nobody is above the law.
Right.
You break the law, we're coming for you. So, and then I'm like, popcorn in hand, trying to see what happens with Adam.
Like
Schiff.
that little boy on that was at the baseball game.
You shared that with me. His face in the popcorn. I can relate.
Popcorn.
I can relate. Well, Trump was talking. Of course, Friday he's taking a quick press conference while he's wearing his red "Trump was right about everything"
sign. Hat. Yeah, I love that.
And he's talking about the
awesome.
raid. Somebody asks him about the raid on Bolton's house, and he had this to say. Take a look.
The news, which I do, I guess his house was raided today, but my house was raided also, called Mar-a-Lago. They went through everything they could, including my young son's room and my wife's area. They went through her drawers, as the expression goes. They went through everything you can imagine. And when she came back, she said, she's very neat, she's meticulous. And she looked and she said, "Whoa, this wasn't the way that she had it." So,
I mean, can you imagine? I'm sure John Bolton's wife would say the same thing, but so they're going through Barron Trump's room, they're going through Melania's room. The rumor has it that they messed with some of her delicates and she just trashed it and got all new stuff. It's a violation of your privacy. And then what?
Absolutely.
Whatever came out of that?
Nothing.
So they can just
nothing. And it was all based on fabricated evidence anyway. So who's going to pay for that?
Who's going to pay for that? The hunted has become the hunters. Now, when I hear that, I think about it in terms of what we've seen in the last 2 months. And it's not that you're hunting somebody because it's hunting season. It's because all the things that they accuse you of doing, they on the left, in fact, are doing. That's where they come up with maybe it's not even the left. That's just in life in general. What they accuse you of doing, they're doing themselves.
Pretty much.
Do you like being right, Allie? Do you like being told that you're right?
Yeah, sure.
But
it's also important that if you are wrong, that you take accountability for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, CNN is kind of having to eat crow a little bit on a daily basis.
Yes, they are. It's fantastic to watch.
It is fun to watch.
Just to watch them do it.
Well, let's show this clip and then we'll talk about it. Take a look.
In all 30 states that track party registration, we're putting on the screen the data. It shows altogether Democrats have lost 2.1 million voters. Republicans have gained 2.4 million. That's a deficit that you have of 4.5 million voters.
Wow.
Are we saying rest in peace, Democrat Party? I don't know. I think it was difficult for them to have to report on that. But listen, this is what happened. The Democrat Party and their platform were hijacked by your Leninist, communist, Maoist, whatever
Socialist,
regimes. That thought process. And they abandoned. Listen, they abandoned the Tulsi Gabbards. They abandoned the Kennedys. They abandoned really the Trump, Flynn. You think about the people that were midline Democrats once upon a time. They've left their party. It's kind of like, when a breakup happens, it's like, I didn't go anywhere. You left, you checked out, right?
So I think you're absolutely right with that. I mean, the Democrat Party, look at what they support. They support everything that is antithetical to freedom, everything that is antithetical to law and order, everything that is antithetical to the American experiment that has been going on for 250 years. They support criminals. They support murderers and rapists and gang leaders and gang violence. They support violence in their streets. They support illegal aliens over their constituents, over American constituents. This is craziness, what they support. And then they wonder why they are losing supporters. We have now the biggest block of Americans, no matter what spectrum you are on, whether you are, no matter what ethnicity you come from, no matter what background you are, socioeconomic background, whatever educational background, people are flocking to the America First MAGA movement, Republican Party, because of where we stand on things. You can clearly see this is now 12 days since DC has been federalized that there has been no murders.
Allie, absolutely. And I love that you make it a point to list out what Trump is really forcing the Democrat Party to take a stand on. He's forcing them to outline, okay, what is it that you in fact stand on? Because when your whole policy has been, we hate Trump, that's not going to cut it. What are you for? And he forces them to argue the wrong side of every issue. This was blatantly obvious in every American living room, every family's American living room. This was obvious when they told you, listen, we're so cautious of people's feelings. We won't let them spike a football during a touchdown. We're going to put DEI practices, just to be delicate. We don't want any bullying. We don't want anybody singled out. We want to make sure everybody's inclusive. And then they turned around and put men, boys in women's sports. They created the most abusive environment that we fought to get out of. And so I think everybody, Democrat, Republican, independent, indifferent, everybody can understand that this is hypocrisy at its finest, really.
It is 100%. And then they're mad at us for wanting it to just for wanting it to just be pushed back a little bit. Like we're pushing back on all of the radicalism, and they're complaining. And for what? You guys are losing voters. You're never going to win another election unless you cheat.
Resonating.
And
You're
I
not
think
resonating with
President
anybody.
Trump and a lot of our red states, because we have more Republican governors than we do Democrat governors in the United States right now. So I think once we get a stronghold on what our elections actually look like and strengthening them without all of these ridiculous mail-in ballots, I think we and getting rid of some of the machines and we go back to just paper ballots. I mean, if Afghanistan can freaking do it, and India can do it with like an ink on your finger, and that's how you freaking vote. Like, this is not rocket science. It's not brain surgery. It could be done.
It can definitely be done. We talked last week a little bit about some of these holdovers that end up getting appointed or to their position under one administration. Then you've got an election and a new administration comes in lots of times from another party. But these are not supposed to be political positions. So somebody will be able to keep their job as a holdover into the new administration. But we're seeing for the first time, which tells me that the Trump administration has their ear to the ground to people like Laura Loomer and others that are giving them this advice. People are doing the research on who some of these people are. And they're saying, sir, you cannot keep these people working literally like one of our school board members here from the inside to undo the things that you're doing on the outside. This just broke. We'll take a look at this. A Joe Biden holdover. His name's Lieutenant General Jeffrey Cruz. He's the director of Defense Intelligence Agency. He's just been fired by Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. So cleaning house, sometimes we call this spring cleaning. I guess it's fall cleaning. But this is huge considering what we're finding out in the intelligence community, right? So intelligence community isn't just the arm of FBI, CIA. You've also got the way that they work so closely in the Department of Defense. So what do you think of this, Allie?
I think it's great. Why did it take so long? Is just my question, but I'm glad that it's happening. I'm pretty sure there are more. I'm pretty sure that Laura Loomer has a list. And I think the people that are upset about her access and what she's able to do with the information that she has and the investigative journalism that she is really good at, they're just mad that she's exposing it. And they want to keep the status quo. They want to be able to keep those people that are there spying essentially on the new administration and being almost like a stop loss. They're in the gap trying to stop the administration from furthering the America First agenda that we overwhelmingly voted for November 5th. And so those people that are angry about that, they need to look in the mirror and check what exactly are you doing? What benefit does that have for America and Americans and the American interest? If it doesn't, then you need to find a new job.
And, we talked about this before on our show that really the benefit of America is to have two very strong parties, whether you align, whether you like it or not. We don't want to go to a one-party system. Obviously, we like the two-party system. It's part of our founding. But the other thing that I think really helps a strong America is to have a free and independent press corps. Now, you may have an opinion and you may want to come out and say, this is my opinion. Like, for example, Patriot TV, when you tune in here, you kind of already know our perspective, but we call balls and strikes the way we see it. We do it for both sides, Republican, Democrat. We've done it with Trump as much as we love what he's doing for our country. I think somebody like Laura Loomer is so triggering to many people because it's a reminder that the journalism in America has not done its job for a very long time. When you think about how they've more controlled the narrative instead of giving facts to you and I, it's like we have to wake up and go, oh my God, what was that? Like the biggest experiment.
Project Mockingbird, it needs to go away. We need to get rid of Project Mockingbird. It needs to be dead. Like close the chapter, close the book, throw the book away. I mean, maybe not throw it away. Maybe put it in an archive somewhere so we can actually learn from it and realize that this should never happen again. But we also need to make sure that we're getting rid of the Smith Modernization Act. Say that 10 times fast with no caffeine, 4 hours of sleep. That's something that we are also working on getting passed and through the House of Representatives. So keep your eyes peeled here for that because we'll have calls to action on that pretty soon.
We will. We'll have something for you to do. This is your republic, so you got to play a role in it. Allie, very exciting to see this coming out all over social media, people taking video of how wonderfully clean and beautiful and safe Washington, D.C. is. I want to share this video, and then we're going to talk about some of the other areas in the country that President Trump and Pete Hegseth are thinking of putting troops to do the job that really should be for those that are elected locally, but they're not doing it. Take a look. Is he giving a thumbs up for a photo?
Look at that.
Okay.
They are armed now.
Armed, very much armed. So the National Guard troops are armed in the streets of D.C. It appears that they look happy about it. They're talking about possibly doing this in Chicago and New York. We can bring it back here.
These National Guard bunnies. Y'all go away.
What are they? Wait, what was that?
I said National Guard bunnies.
Are those a thing?
Yes. ID card chasers. Anyway,
you heard it here first.
It is what it is.
I'm sorry, I gotta write that down somewhere. National Guard bunnies.
It's just something about, the men in uniform, and they're like, oh my God. So yeah. Anyway, I think this is a great idea. A lot of people are kind of throwing their hands up in the air, screaming, oh, this is fascism. First of all, the National Guard is really only there to protect national monuments, the property of the United States government. So when they are deployed in other areas, in other parts of the country, and other states of the country, they are only there to protect the national, like whatever is owned by the government, right? Like government property, state property. And they're allowed to do that. And the fact that they are armed also is another deterrent from criminals, which is what we've been saying all along in all of these aspects of, these school shootings, which I'm pretty sure we're going to get to. There are school shootings all over this country that are happening. There's massive amounts of mass casualties that are happening all over the United States. When you have good people that actually know how to wield a weapon and do it properly, you will deter the criminals.
Absolutely. You look at the areas across the country that have the strictest gun laws. I'm talking where you can't bring your weapon into their major cities, and they have the highest crime. So when you sent me this video, this is from Seattle. So they're talking to those that are pretty much homeless in the street. And they're asking, listen, so how do you feel about what Trump is doing? Keep in mind, this is Seattle. This is where they had, they broke away and had their own government for, what was it? What was that called? Do you remember the streets of Seattle when they blockade and they had their own government there for a while? It was crazy.
That was so long ago. I don't ever remember.
I know, but this is right where that took place. Listen to this independent reporter asking the question that we're all asking. Take a listen.
So do you think it's necessary for President Trump to help cities in America by bringing the National Guard troops in for extra backup?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We need it. Come help us. We need it.
We really need it here in Seattle.
Seattle used to be a pretty city. It used to be a nice place, but now it's not. Everything's closing up, shutting down because people just had it.
I don't feel safe. When I'm by myself, I'm scared a lot. I have to keep my phone in my hand because I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. The other day, the smoke shop right here got robbed. Yeah, and I don't think there's as much business that there used to be.
Because people are afraid to come.
Yeah, absolutely. People don't want to spend their money when they fear for walking to the store.
I wouldn't even bring my kids down here. I have to get a babysitter if I go grocery shopping because I don't feel safe for them to be in Seattle with me.
Make our city safe again. He could do it.
He can do it.
Wow,
he can do it. Make our city safe again. And
was it called Chaz?
Chaz. Okay, so the reason I didn't say that is because I think that's the name of Sonny and Cher's trans daughter. And that's why I was like, wait a minute.
I think it is actually.
Okay, so maybe they're both named Chaz. Okay, but
yes.
Right? They blocked off. It was like this whole, it's supposed to be a whole independent,
it was their autonomous zone.
Autonomous zone. Thank you.
Craziness, right? Oh my gosh.
And now they're asking, bring the National Guard here to secure our streets.
Well, isn't that the responsibility of the president? If your governors are not able to clean up the city the right way, isn't it his I mean, I'm speaking as if I'm not the civic engagement director who doesn't understand proper roles and responsibilities, but I'm asking our audience, don't you think that is us along the lines of President Trump's constitutional authority, that when your governors are not doing what is necessary to maintain law and order within their cities, he can deploy the National Guard to protect, our national monuments and government-owned property, and to provide assistance. That's what the National Guard is for.
And everybody who's up in arms, and by everybody, I mean 2% of the population, are asking these questions. Where were they when Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, deployed the National Guard to inject people with an experimental jab? I mean,
exactly. A bioweapon, essentially, is what we're learning that it actually was, and not a vaccine by any definition. So,
when you think about it, Allie, when you think about it, whether we're talking about Hurricane Katrina, whether we're talking about the hurricanes that have happened here in Florida, anytime there's a major disaster, this is partly what the National Guard is used for. They should have been implemented there in Western North Carolina. Biden and Harris dragged their feet on that. They never really got the help that they needed in a timely manner. Why would the rampant crime on our streets, why would that not be similar? Why would that not be similar to every other time when we've had to implement National Guard troops? They should have been, sorry, Governor Abbott, they should have been used in much more detail down at the southern border.
Absolutely.
How did Biden Harris keep the border open and we have a wonderful governor, Republican, in the state of Texas, and they can't stop the flood? I mean,
the way he explained it and how I think the rest of America was like, okay, we get it, is their hands were tied. I don't understand how the president of the United States can keep a governor from deploying the National Guard unless it violated constitutional rights, right? But it didn't. These people that were coming across our border had no constitutional rights because they were not Americans.
And they don't get due process either.
Right. Constitutional rights do not come from our government, but you are provided those rights when you become a citizen. Not everywhere has a constitution that recognizes God-given rights. And so in order for you to reap those benefits, you have to be an American citizen. And I don't understand. It's just,
we'll see.
I mean, we get it now. It was an invasion. That's why. But.
Right. And we will see where else Trump decides to place the National Guard troops. Obviously, it's sad that he's not going to get the cooperation of the mayors and the leaders in some of these states and some of these cities. He will, I believe, have the complete cooperation with the police departments, because anybody who signs up to wear that badge, they have the intention of doing their job, I believe, with the intent of safeguarding our streets. And when they can't do that, when they're crippled and their hands are tied because they have woke policies allowing them to completely let criminals back out on the street, I think he's doing the right thing. I'm excited to see where they go next. We are going to take a commercial break. We've got a quick commercial break, guys. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be talking about acid rain. Yeah, still a thing. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
From the heart of Marietta, Georgia, comes a tribute to the spirit of liberty. Liberty Cigars, where history meets craftsmanship. Each cigar tells a story. The Founders Collection honors the visionaries who shaped a nation. The President's House Collection celebrates the leaders who steered it. And the Naval Series salutes the heroes who defended it. Handcrafted with precision, each blend mirrors the essence of its namesake. From the boldness of George Washington to the elegance of Thomas Jefferson. Indulge in a moment of reflection. Light a Liberty cigar and savor the legacy. Discover your story at libertycigars.com, because every great nation deserves a great cigar. Liberty Cigars, smoke the history. And don't forget to use promo code OpenMic for 10% off your order.
Gold IRA companies are a dime a dozen, especially in conservative media. We vetted out 34 companies and chose Augusta Precious Metals.
With the lowest across-the-board spreads in the gold IRA industry, Augusta saves Americans thousands of dollars.
They are the only major gold IRA company that has zero complaints from their customers. Zero. None.
Augusta Precious Metals does not have commissioned sales reps, which means their goals are aligned with yours.
They were the only gold IRA company that demonstrated integrity and transparency without using gimmicks.
The informative one-on-one web conferences by Augusta Precious Metals answer all of their customers' questions before they make a move.
If you're ready to learn about protecting your wealth and retirement with gold and silver, request your free gold guide from Augusta Precious Metals today.
Visit patriot.tv/gold. That's patriot.tv/gold today.
humming along. Everybody that's ever in the studio is like, oh my gosh, that song is so catchy. I couldn't get it out of my head all day. We want to thank Hadass Levy and obviously Forgiato Blow for Red Hat Stays On, metaphorically and physically, because we're not going anywhere. MAGA America First is here to stay. Allie, we have talked for a long time here in the state of Florida about geoengineering. It reminds me of like the environment version of what Fauci was doing with gain of function research. Like maybe there's some things we just don't mess with. Maybe God designed it. Maybe we as people don't mess with it.
Leave it alone.
Put it back the way you found it. This is a quick interview that Glenn Beck had done, just a little snippet of it with the EPA chief, Lee Zeldin. I want to play this and then we can talk about it.
Geoengineering really scares me because it seems like we're starting to play God a bit. And I see the videos of chemtrails, that are coming out. And I think this is part of geoengineering. The farmers over in England are saying, look at the skies. And now it's going to be cloudy in 30 minutes and it's cloudy. And they were having all kinds of problems. Can you tell me what's true and what's not?
So when I first got confirmed, I sat down here at the agency with people and told them everything that I can know, everything that this agency knows about these topics, I want us to communicate with the public. Everything that I know as the EPA administrator should be communicated transparently with the American public, whatever the answer is, wherever the facts lie. We posted last month on the EPA website, epa.gov/geoengineering, a lot of the answers I received on this topic. And there has been government funding that's gone towards some of these efforts. There are entities and people who would want to drastically scale these activities up. I agree with you with your concern just with the idea of playing God. The solar radiation modification, stratospheric aerosol injection, marine cloud brightening. There are these activities to make changes to the stratosphere or the lower atmosphere and try to deflect sun rays from hitting the Earth to instead send it back into space. And in the case of stratospheric aerosol injection, you're talking about putting sulfur dioxide, a lot of it, for a long time, into the upper atmosphere, which, by the way, turns into acid rain. There are real health concerns with regards to these activities. And it's not like, it's thoroughly studied, it's approved, it's trusted, it's vetted. Instead, you have people who just want to do it on their own, like try to get themselves, someone to hand over $1 billion to just go dump a whole bunch of sulfur dioxide into the stratosphere. And no, that doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound right, and it shouldn't happen.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, I think everybody watching this right now is like, first they were putting dye in our food. That was easy for them to stop doing just like that. Now we realize that obviously they were messing with viruses, making them more potent just for the heck of it because they were bored and to get money. And now they're injecting stuff into the stratosphere. This is insane, Allie, that this has been going on for so long.
It's almost like are they trying to kill us? Like, you know what I mean?
wish it wasn't funny, but it's like seriously.
I'm looking for my tinfoil hat here. Like, I feel like how before we have been right so far, we would look at these things and go, that's a little conspiratorial. Like, that is absolutely that stuff crazy. Like, I don't. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? And now it's coming out and we're just like, but this doesn't make any sense at all. Like, why would anyone do this?
And here's my thing. And I know we live in Florida and it's really, really hot here in Florida, but if you're injecting chemicals into the firmament, basically the stratosphere, don't you think, is there not any tree hugger out there that doesn't maybe think that might not be a good idea because we may be creating a shield that might keep heat in to planet Earth?
That's exactly
where are my global warming
That is exactly what's happening. And so I listen to, and I have heard Greg Braden, who is a scientist. He's a world-renowned national bestseller, like all of these things. He's an amazing scientist. He talks about this and he says, like, global warming is a thing. Climate change is a thing because of what humans are doing to the atmosphere. Like, it's not the fact that we're just simply existing and that is creating this climate change, this global warming. It's the actual putting chemicals into the atmosphere and creating this heat dome and expecting it to not cause or have adverse reactions to our crops, to our food, to the humans, to the animals, to all of the things like
water quality.
This,
yes.
Right, water quality. I mean, what is going on here? How does this not compute to our most influential, most brilliant scientists that this
What
is not
hole do you
something
have to
should
have
be
your
doing?
head in order to not ask these basic questions? And Allie, it's the same thing with COVID, right? Like, I get people all the time that tell me COVID was real. And I said, yes, they made it.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
just like you made dinner, they made it. Like, I don't know what else to tell you.
It was the Frankenflu.
Frankenflu.
It was the Frankenflu. Coronavirus has always been known as the flu. They just didn't call it coronavirus. They called it the flu. If you look back, I did a video really long time ago, 2019, when we were talking about coronavirus, and you could look at the back of a Lysol bottle and see coronavirus on the back of the Lysol bottle. How long has it been there? Probably since the inception of Lysol. But this is my point. They just made it more viral and more infectious and more deadly by playing God in a laboratory. This is exactly what's happening in our skies. This is why we in Florida decided to cut. We did a bill, right? I had friends of mine that worked on this bill, literally drafted it and introduced it to our House of Representatives in our legislature. And they finally got it passed, and it was to end geoengineering. If it's not existing and it doesn't happen, why are we passing bills to keep it from happening?
Well, and here's the thing, we'll elaborate a little more. At least we can speak on this here in the state of Florida. Governor DeSantis signed that bill into law. Thank you, Governor DeSantis. However, I wonder how the policing of this is going to work, because as you saw, we've got our hands full with a lot of things, and I still think that I see what I see in the air. And I'm wondering, okay, so who's the police that are going to go stop that?
I don't know. Somebody needs to get on it. Like, it's passed. This is the problem, though, is like when you get bills passed on a federal level, it takes you about 2 to 3 years for you to feel it. When it's passed in your state, it takes maybe about 1.5 years, 2 years for you to feel it anyway. But with everything that we have going on in our state and everything we have going on in our nation, it seems like we're just not. We're backlogged in a way.
Yes, that's a great way to say it. That is a great way to say it. We've been talking on this show a lot about Gavin Newsom, and just, with the redistricting of some congressional maps different states are handling, and the outcry sometimes from the people on the left saying, this is redrawing district maps, like it's based on race and other things. And we've often said here, listen, California has done this. They've really abused this system. But when our vice president, JD Vance, has something to say about it, I think we should listen. Let's take a listen.
We had way fewer House seats than we should have. One, if the Democrats hadn't aggressively gerrymandered, and two, if illegal aliens weren't counted in the census for purposes of apportioning congressional seats. The best estimates I've seen is that in California, for example, has 5 additional congressional seats than it should have, because they count illegal aliens for the purpose of apportioning representatives. Meanwhile, Ohio, my home state, lost a representative. We're literally losing representatives for American citizens in order to give congressional representation to illegal aliens. Republicans are trying to balance out the scales a little bit for basic fairness and for the integrity of our democracy, which the president cares about as much as anybody in the country.
The integrity of our democracy, our democratic republic. Thank you, JD, Vice President JD Vance. We appreciate your commentary there. I would just change Democratic Republic. That's all.
Our republic. Absolutely.
Right. No, but he's 1,000% correct. I mean, you cannot have these gerrymandered cities in these states where it's only based on race, especially if we're trying to get rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Guys, obviously, you want diversity of thought, not just diversity of skin color, because we're all Americans, we're all human. But we need to make sure that it's population based, not drawn these weird angles, these oblong shapes that make it impossible for anybody to be properly represented in Congress or in their state. You're disenfranchising your constituents and the voters, and
Listen,
absolutely not.
If we're so concerned, and we are, about elections and election integrity, and we're concerned about only Americans and only U.S., we should just as equally concerned in the census. This is how your states get federal dollars based on what the census says, for certain programs. We shouldn't be subsidizing as taxpayers those that are here illegally trying to get state resources. That should go to the American people. If you ever wonder why such a wealthy nation like the United States, whether you're for some of these programs or not, we'll put that to the side, have that argument on another day. But if you're giving things like Medicaid to your residents in your state, don't you think they should only go to those who have legal citizenship here, who have a potential to pay into the system? If we have the amount of wealth in this country that we say we do, there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to provide for those in need. If you believe in those types of programs, I'm just saying we should definitely not be spending taxpayer dollars on those who are not here legally. Allie, so I have to agree with JD Vance there. I'm glad that it seems like the Republican Party is moving in the right, at least under the direction of America First. They are moving in the right direction. It feels like we're playing offense instead of defense for once.
And it feels so good to play offense, because that's how you end up getting the ball down the field, right? I'm a football mom, you guys. This is like my life. I've been a football mom since my oldest was freaking 6 years old. He's 17 and he'll be 18 in April. So it's just, those are my analogies. Deal with it. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. Not really. But yeah, no, seriously, this is how you get the ball down the field. You have to play offense. You have to have a good offense, but also you have to have a good offensive line, but you also need to make sure that you have good plays. And I think President Trump, being essentially the quarterback of this, he has a great playbook. He's done this. He's made these plays for almost his whole life, being, with the art of the deal and working under his father and working in government, working with people in government positions in order for him with contracting and things like that. But we also need to make sure that we have a good defense, because defensive linemen actually keep the other side from advancing, right? But we need to make sure we have a good bench, because sometimes those offensive and defensive linemen get hurt. And if they are not able to produce the results that we're asking for, we need to be able to sub them in with someone that actually knows what they're doing, someone that is actually being mentored by those that are in the game, that are playing the game, that understand the game, that know how to learn the game, play it better, kick their butt, right? That is what the bench is for. And so we need to make sure that we are building the bench. And I love what's going on down in certain counties where you have sitting representatives that are helping those that are wanting to run for office in 26 and 28. They're mentoring them. We don't have a mentoring class right now. It's a pay for play, and it's I'm going to be in this seat until I'm not, and then I'm going to be in this seat until I'm not, and then I'm going to be in this seat until I'm not. And whose ring can I kiss, whose boots can I lick, and whose ass can I suck up to, right? That's kind of where we're at right now. But with the America First movement and the MAGA movement, we are trying to build a bench so that we can continue to push the ball forward and make sure that we have subs for the offensive and defensive linemen that are in our government right now.
Absolutely, Allie. It is a big picture overview, and that's why I'm grateful for America First. Not even so much, like you said, the Republican establishment. It's more this ideology that says, you know what, when we help each other, one hand up, one hand down, we're just building a stronger bench so this outlives us. And that was one thing we were talking in the pre-show about the Broadway musical Hamilton, because I watched that over the weekend with my daughter. And one of the things, no matter how you feel about that play, or even some of our founding fathers, one of the wonderful things is that they wanted to build something to outlive them. And whatever happened to that mentality, if we're doing this to our viruses, and we're doing this to our stratosphere, and we're just pay to play, how is this going to ever outlive our generation? We should still care about what we're passing on to the next generation, which is why this next story really is hard to take. It's really hard to take, because we're talking about our own conservatives. There's a story now about Alina Habba, who Trump has been waiting to appoint her. She's not going through the process of being confirmed. We're like, what is the holdup? Take a listen as she explains it herself.
What do you want to say about Senator Tillis? Tom Tillis, a member of the Judiciary Committee, has stated publicly that if Chairman Grassley tried moving a district judge or U.S. attorney through the Judiciary Committee without a blue slip, he would oppose that nominee. And that means we would not even have the votes to pass a nomination like Habba out of committee because Tillis would vote no along with the Democrats.
It's not surprising. You know, they're trying to look at this as they all need to get along to go along, but they're not looking at what this does. The president was rightfully voted in by a majority of Americans, and he is entitled to pick his U.S. attorneys, his Department of Justice officials, his judges, so that we can continue the agenda that the American public voted for, which is to get rid of crime. In the state of New Jersey in June alone, we arrested over 300 criminals, illegals, rapists. What is so bad about that work? The truth is it has nothing to do with the work that we're doing. It has nothing to do with the crime that we're stopping. It has to do with trying to prevent President Trump from continuing his agenda, and it has to stop. So I would say to Senator Tillis and Senator Grassley, you are becoming part of the issue. You are becoming part of the antithesis of what we fought for 4 years. The same reason Tish James just got overturned in the appellate division, because it was a hoax and it was misused and abuse of power. And we cannot allow and promote that kind of behavior. It is not just about me. It is about people across the country, U.S. attorneys across the country that just want to do right by Americans that voted for President Trump in this administration.
This is huge, Allie, because this is why you vote for the type of president that we did on November 5th, because we understand that the DOJ has largely been infiltrated by extreme ideology, people that want to try to rule and govern from the bench. That's not your job as a judge or as a U.S. attorney. So to allow Trump to have these appointments, this is exactly what we put him in office for. Time is short. 4 years are going to go by quickly. What is the holdup? I love that she calls out Tom Tillis and Chuck Grassley by name.
Why is it always Tom Tillis and Chuck Grassley? Like, do you remember the last time? It has literally been every single nominee. They have dug their heels in and given their opinion. Your opinion does not matter in this instance. Thank you so much, because what are you doing?
Allie,
we voted overwhelmingly.
We're just going to need to bring a box of Liberty cigars with us late in September, head to Washington, D.C., and just, excuse me, sir.
I am incredibly frustrated with these Republicans that are this is the hill they're going to die on. Like, it is so irritating to know that they are in the way of furthering the America First agenda that we overwhelmingly voted for. The only reason why most of them are currently serving in office right now is because they rode the coattails of President Donald Trump for the last 10 years.
President Trump has come out. He's come out strong saying this over the weekend. Take a look at this post that he made. He's basically doubling down. I have the constitutional right to appoint judges and U.S. attorneys, but that right has been taken away from me. Basically he calls it Democrat United States Senator. That because if you are working actively against the appointments that Trump is trying to make, you are, as Alina Habba said, you are a part of the problem. You're now siding with the Democrats, and that this isn't grandstanding because you want your name in the headlines. This isn't grandstanding because you feel compelled that your argument is better. Many times as a representative, your job is not so much that people elected you because they like your opinion. They elected you because they see their voice reflected in your voice, and they trust you to go to Congress and to do the will of the people. Sometimes that means taking your ego down a notch and actually realizing, okay, wait, I might do something differently here, but what do my constituents say? What do they want? This isn't happening with Tillis or with Grassley. It's very disappointing.
Tom Tillis and Chuck Grassley, this is not about you.
Not about you.
It's not about you.
Sit down.
This is about the American people. It's not about red and it's not about blue. It's about what these judges are doing. These activist judges are doing. They're legislating from the bench, and they are actively usurping the Constitution. They are violating the Constitution, which you took an oath to uphold. And that is your job as a congressman, as a senator, to represent the people within your district. The representation of the people within your district is to further the America First agenda, period, full stop. Do your job.
Do your job. Listen, I know we're going to kind of forego our next commercial break because I do want to get to these next stories until we get the second hour. We're doubling down. I'm just kidding. When one of the wonderful things, as much as we might not like social media for a lot of things, one of the wonderful things that it has done is it's given somebody like the commander-in-chief a direct line to the American people. You don't have to worry so much about a press corps. You don't have to worry about lamestream media. You can kind of get your message out. And Trump really uses as a precursor. They're like little nuggets that he drops through the weekend. And you're kind of like, oh my gosh, I think he's going to act on this next week. Take a look at this next post. And then we're going to talk a little more about it. He is coming out and saying, basically, this is the Fed board, for the, help me, Allie. They dropped the Federal Reserve. Thank you. We don't elect them, so I wasn't paying much attention to them. This is the Federal Reserve Board. You can see obviously 7 people on board. There's the Lisa Cook. They call her the fraudster. She's technically called the governor of the board. He's got an X through there, so she's obviously been. There's been some allegations about her committing mortgage fraud, which is pretty funny considering she helps set the interest rates for mortgages. Like maybe do what you're supposed to do in your private life and public life. But is this a foretelling of maybe him wanting to remove or fire Lisa Cook? Maybe?
Absolutely. I mean, since she has been referred for criminal investigation, I think the president is well within his constitutional authority to remove her.
Yeah.
She is no longer being held to esteem, right? How if you are being referred for criminal investigation, how can you properly do your job?
I don't know, Allie. And this is so, I wanted to just give you a little bit of encouragement today, Allie, that you and I are in good company. Because remember when we visited the Republican Party of Florida's quarterly meeting, we just had some issues with maybe some of the people that are being kicked out of the Republican Party as MAGA and America First. Wanted to ask some questions. Wasn't planning on attending the whole meeting, but just to ask some questions to those that are in leadership. And we got escorted out by the sheriff's department there in Orlando. It was pretty, just for getting a cup of coffee, really. Check out this post from James Fishback. Of course, he's been on the heels, nipping at everybody that's in that the board, the Federal Reserve Board. He just said, as he was posted, he said, I was just escorted out of the conference this is all he wanted to do, was asking Governor Lisa Cook, who is a taxpayer-funded official, about her alleged mortgage fraud. So he was given this criminal trespass notice, asked to not be in attendance. Again, we've said on this show, and he's actually, when we interviewed him at Turning Point USA, one of the things that he was screaming from the rooftops is that, listen, these boards meet in secrecy. You don't ever see minutes or an outline of what they discuss. It's literally the room where it happens, where the sausage is made, and you're never allowed to know what goes on in there. Why aren't these meetings open to the public? Why does somebody with the knowledge of the subject matter, like James Fishback, why does he get escorted out? Why is he not allowed? Why is nobody reporting on this?
Simply to ask a question. Why can we not ask questions? That is a sign of almost like dictatorship. When you're not allowed to ask questions about something, that shows me and signals to me and to a lot of other people that you have something to hide. And if you have something to hide from the American people or from the people that you supposedly represent, then perhaps you're in the wrong position.
You're right, Allie. If you have something to hide and you can't ask questions, that's not a good indicator. But here's also something that's not a good indicator. When you're asked the question and you beat around the bush and can't answer it, you want to see a politician dodge a question? Take a look at this clip of Gavin Newsom on the Sean Ryan Show. Take a listen.
What about for your values? I mean, is 8 years old too young?
Yeah, I mean, look, I now that I have a 9-year-old, just became 9. Come on, man, I get it. So those are legit. It's interesting. Just the issue of age. I'm as someone that's been so focused on equality, broadly LGBT rights, particularly gay marriage.
Mm-hmm.
The trans issue for me is also novel. It's over the last few years. I'm trying to understand as much as anyone else. Whole pronoun thing, trying to understand all of that. That was like the hell? I mean, all that stuff. I get it.
Okay, so if you're having a hard time trying to understand it.
The question was, do you think 8 is too young to be able to change your sex, your biological sex, to actually have mutilation surgery and cut off private parts? He danced around that like we do on a country line dancing floor. I'm just saying.
Look, Gavin Newsom, and like all the hand gestures and like what?
And I get it, man. I get it, man.
What a narcissist.
A narcissist? Yes.
Narcissist. I can't. I guess it's just he gives me the ick.
He is one of those men that give you the ick. The ick factor is real. Maybe we'll write a book on it one time. What is the ick factor and how to avoid it at all costs?
The cover of that will be Gavin.
With a can of hairspray. Because that hair, I'm sorry. It doesn't move. It never moves. He can be out in the middle of wildfire season and it's like his hair never moves. And he
is not a serious person. He's not a serious person. And he shouldn't be serving in government.
And he's related, he's related to Nancy Pelosi. Like the incestuousness of government sometimes never ceases to amaze me. So let's pivot to a little bit of funny, if we can. Okay. You sent me this because we always ask each other, like, "Hey, Allie, are you tired of winning yet?" We're like, never. So I thought this was cute when you sent it to me. It made me laugh this morning. I don't always win. Just kidding. I always win.
Just kidding. I always win. I love it. Yes, we are always winning. We will continue to win. But we need your help to do so. So you need to plug in to your local party. Regardless of whether or not you feel like they support you or represent you.
You still got to be in there. Absolutely.
Need to be in there. Why? Because you get to see how things are made, how things are voted on. You get to learn the process. And once you learn the process, you can play it better.
Well, this is what I tell people, even here on the local level, they're like, "Oh, I don't want to be bothered with our local party or our local party leaders." If you're not in their ear, who is? And sometimes it's just fun to show up and watch everybody go, "Ugh,
her again."
Hi.
It was so funny. I came into like one of the our like rec was doing a vote to see who was going to be chair, and I walked in with one of the candidates for the new chair, and everybody was like, "He brought the big dogs. He brought the big guns. Oh no!" And I'm like, "Hi guys."
You do. And listen, it's kind of like, and people don't tell you this when you see things in the news, it kind of angers you, frustrates you. You think, okay, Allie and Michelle said so I'm going to sign up and I'm going to make sure I'm a member of my local party and I'm going to go to these meetings and I'm going to really make an impact. And then nobody tells you, just like when you get married, nobody tells you certain things. They should tell you. What we want to tell you is that you're going to see things that will frustrate you even within your local party. You're going to not always agree. You're going to find things that are frustrating. Stay the course. Just go in with the idea like, okay, this is going to be kind of yuck for a little bit. It is, but we need your voice and we need your boots on the ground because 2026 obviously is just right around the corner. In your area, you probably already have people announcing their candidacy for different offices. Local action definitely makes a national impact. So we need you guys to get involved. Allie, I want to show one more cute video before, because I know we're running out of time. This is Trump. Okay. Playing golf, just getting a little R&R in, and watch what he does for this little boy.
We trust the plan. We trust the plan.
Giving him one of his Sharpies, one of his little markers.
Oh, how cute is that?
That's too
Guys,
cute.
This is what the left doesn't want you to see. This is a man who has a heart for Americans. Like, he loves everybody, especially kids, because he's a grandpa. Like, Grandpa Trump. I love it.
And actually, I think it was Erica and Laura's son or daughter, I'm not sure, that took their first steps in the Oval Office, in the White House. I mean, that's Kennedy-esque, right? Like, you don't have to agree with everything, but how awesome is it to see such a family man? He's not painted that way by the lamestream media, so that's why we make it a point to bring that to your attention.
It's up to us to paint him that way.
So it is.
Let's do our due diligence. And become a voting member of your REC so you can change policy.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. That's it for us with Open Mic. But we will be back here tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, share with your friends. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye.
And I don't care how they look at me in the deepest heart of a blue city. Red hat stays on. Red hat stays on. And I know when you smile, you like what you see. If you love America, you'll agree. Red hat stays on. Red hat stays on.